I just pray right now that you would fill this room. Lord, I pray that if there's anything in here tonight in our lives, in our hearts, Lord, in our minds that are separating us from you, Lord, right now I pray that you would fill that void, that separation we feel. God, that you just minister to us tonight through your word, through your Holy Spirit, and through each other. We love you, Jesus. And everyone said, amen. Amen. Have a seat. Have a seat. Have a seat. Now, I'll tell you what, I was walking around during family groups, and a lot of y'all's pictures were a lot better than the original, so congratulations. There we go, Lily, you can just scoot it on back. There you go. Use it as a mat for your feet. That's fine. Hey, everyone say busy. These next few weeks, and especially going into the summer months, we are busy, busy, busy. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff, even some stuff in 3 weeks we can't even put on the announcement video today because there's already too much stuff. So pay attention to this announcement video and get signed up for our stuff that we have coming up.
So you want to be a part of Speed the Light, right? You want to help missionaries reach more people and tell them the goodness of Jesus Christ? But you're a teenager. You don't have much to give, right? Wrong. God has gifted each of us in some way. Maybe you don't have a lot of money, but I'm sure you could shoot hoops, do a lot of push-ups, love to read books, or something, right? Well, use that and take the 1 in 1,000 challenge. It's simple. Find something you like to do and challenge yourself to do it 1,000 times. Maybe it's playing video games, shooting soccer goals, or even hitting golf balls. Whatever it is, challenge yourself to do it 1,000 times. Then get the word out. Put it on social media, ask around, and let people know what you're doing, and that they can sponsor you to give money to Speak the Light. Then just make it happen. Kick that soccer ball or draw that picture. Do your 1 in 1,000. Help us speed the light into a world of darkness.
Grandparents, guardians, aunts, uncles, bring whoever you want. We will have food for the whole family before service at 6:15 p.m. and are planning a powerful service. We will do a drawing to give away a hand scholarship and a mission trip scholarship to 2 students who bring family members. We can't wait to see everyone Wednesday night, March 8th, for family night.
All right, we have a busy month, so I'm going to go recap everything real quick. 1 and 1,000. I hope everyone is choosing to participate in our 1 and 1,000. It's our first missions fundraiser of the year. Our goal, I would love it if we raised $10,000 in the next month through our 1 and 1,000 challenge. So, one kid, one student, that's you, do something you love 1,000 times in one day. And you go and raise support for it. There's packets in the back. That way you can get support, write down people's names and numbers. You can give them a card where they can donate to you. And we are all going to do our 1 and 1,000s the week of spring break, which is going to be March 10th through the 19th. All right? Me, Sean, and Ty are going to triple team 1,000 minutes on an Echo bike. Okay, 1,000 minutes, that's 16 and a half hours on an Echo bike with the fan. We have them at the CrossFit gym. So, me, Sean, and Ty are all going to do, we're going to do 1,000 minutes, 16 and a half hours on an Echo bike, and that's going to be our 1 and 1,000. Maddox, you're probably going to be doing your push-ups right next to us while we're doing it. So, get your 1 and 1,000 packets, get inspired, and go raise money. We're trying to build an indoor soccer facility on the island of Sumba, Indonesia, to help spread the love of Jesus to the island of Sumba. All right, everyone say next week. Next week is one of the funnest nights of the year. It is Camp Live, all right? It is so much fun. It's going to be a blast. We'll have camp food starting at 6:30, so we'll have Frito chili pies, Uncrustables, all the good camp foods starting at 6:30. It's all free, okay? And then starting at 7, we will do our camp games, okay? That is next week, okay? You will learn your color teams on Monday through social media, so be following us on Instagram, and we'll let you know what your color teams are for next week. Leaders, we'll probably let you guys know on Sunday. That way you can text your group on Sunday what color team they are, okay? Your team will get points for wearing your color stuff, and of course winning the games, and at the end of the night, we will crown a Camp Live Camp Champ, okay? For every student who brings a visitor next week, you bring a friend with you to Camp Live, your name will get put in a drawing, and we're giving away a free youth camp scholarship next week. So, if you're interested in going to youth camp for free, come to Camp Live next week, bring a friend with you, and we'll do a drawing at the end of the night to see who wins the camp scholarship. The Wednesday night after that is going to be our annual family night, so bring your parents, your guardians, your grandparents, your aunts, uncles, whoever you want to invite to family night. We'll have food for your whole family in here starting at 6:15, and we're planning a powerful service to follow family night March 8th. And last but not least, Arlington missions trip is coming up this summer. We already have, I think, 20 students signed up for it. So if you want to go to Arlington with us, go on our link in our bio, or you can go on the Bridge page, wearethebridge.church, or on the app and go to events, and you can sign up to go on the mission trip with us this summer to Arlington, Texas. All right, make some noise if you've been on the trip with us before. All right, make some noise if it probably changed your life more than it changed the people in Arlington's lives. Yeah, it's a powerful trip. It's a lot of fun. And so if you want to go to Arlington with us, it's June 11th through the 16th, and you can sign up online. You guys ready? Here we go. Hey, I hope you've been enjoying our Charisma series, okay? Our Charisma series. If you've been here, tonight's your first night with us. We've been doing this series throughout the month of February called Charisma, which I, again, forgot to put the logo up there. But it's all comes from Riz, okay? Riz is a popular slang term students are saying right now, talking about when someone's got game, you know? That's what Riz means. Well, Riz is short for charisma, okay? You might think that, you know, your favorite TikTok star made it up. You might have thought that, you know, Kai was the first one to say it on his Twitch stream. It wasn't him, okay? It comes from the root word charisma. Everyone say charisma. Charisma is defined as this. Charisma is defined as the compelling attractiveness or charm that can inspire devotions in others. Okay, AKA charisma is this. Why are people attracted to you? Your charisma is why. Okay, and this is not just in a romantic way. This is why friends might be attracted to you, or why maybe you feel like people are not attracted to you. Maybe you struggle with friends, maybe you struggle with relationships. It all has to do with charisma. Charisma is why are you people attracted to you. In fact, if you love Jesus, it should be defined as this. How should the fact that we love Jesus affect our charisma? Well, they should be attracted to the Jesus in us. And that's why if we love Jesus, that's why you should have godly charisma. Okay, our theme verses for this series has been 1 Corinthians 13, verses 1 through 7. It says this. This is Paul writing to the church at Corinth. He says, if I speak in the tongues of men or angels, but I do not have love, I'm only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and knowledge, and if I have faith that can move mountains, but I do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all my possessions to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but I do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It's not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects. It always trusts. It always perseveres. And always hopes. The first week we looked at the first two and talked about how love is patient and love is kind. And that's what real love and real godly love is. And the love that you get from others who say they love you should be patient love and kind love. And if it's not patient, if it's not kind, then it's not love, no matter what they're saying to you. Last week we talked about how love is selfless. It says love does not envy. That means love is not jealous. It says love does not boast. Boasting means brag. It means if you're bragging about it, it's not love. And it says love is not proud, meaning love does not have pride. Selfless love requires us to step outside of our comfort zone. It requires us to put aside our own wants, our own needs for the sake of someone else's. And that's what love is. Love is a sacrifice. Love is putting others before yourself. When we love selflessly, we experience the joy and the peace and the fulfillment in our lives. And when we love others, we're walking in the footsteps of Jesus. And we're living the life of purpose and meaning. And if you lack purpose and meaning in your life, I'd be curious if you're loving selflessly. Or maybe your love is motivated by selfishness instead. When we love selflessly, we experience blessings of God in our own lives. And last week we talked about 3 ways you can love selflessly. You can serve others, you can be kind, and you can forgive others. This is what I want everyone to do. Just humor me for a second. Close your eyes. And just imagine it's a nice June summer evening. And you're sitting outside. Girls, you're in a pretty dress. You dress yourself up. Guys, you're wearing a suit. And soft piano music begins to play. And when the music begins to play, the whole crowd stands to their feet. A beautiful woman in a white dress floats down the aisle, covered in rose petals. Tears roll down her cheeks, and everyone's smiling. All eyes are on the woman in white. She walks towards the altar. It's her wedding day. She's dreamed this day of her entire life. Her loved ones all gather to help make it happen. Her dream come true. And the pastor begins to speak. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects. It always trusts. It always hopes. It always perseveres. Now look at me. You've probably heard that same exact verse in the same exact setting we just imagined. All right, from the beginning of time, weddings. People love weddings. Most cultures revered weddings as a rite of passage. They're enchanting. They're mesmerizing. They're a whole lot of fun. You know, why do people love weddings so much? Because it's all centered around the emotion that ties people together, and that is love. And if you ever attended a Christian wedding, you're likely have heard what I just read, 1 Corinthians 13, recited during the ceremony. It's the crown jewel, okay? It's the goat of all love passages in the Bible. Opening phrase, love is patient, love is kind. It invokes a memory of, a happy couple at the altar for most people. And these words are perfect for a wedding. But understand, students, this is not the primary reason Paul wrote them. When Paul was writing this letter to the church at Corinth and he was reminding them what love is, it wasn't for a wedding, okay? He wrote this letter to the church at Corinth to correct a problematic behavior in a dysfunctional church. Okay, 1 Corinthians 13 is not a passage of affection, it's a passage of correction. All right, Corinth was one of the most important cities in the Greco-Roman world. Corinth was a major metropolitan city where trade happened and knowledge and philosophy happened, and it was a big, important city, much like New York or LA or Dubai today. It was a culture of success, but also a culture of excess. And just like some people in modern big cities or even Mustang, Oklahoma, the Corinthians had money and they loved to show it off. They took the opportunity to flex on everyone they could with their money, to boost their own ego. Okay, listen, if Instagram existed when Paul was writing this, he wouldn't have said, if you give all the money to the poor but you have not love, you have nothing. No, Paul would have said, listen, if you're posting pictures on your Instagram of your car and your Bugatti and all this stuff, but you have love, you have nothing. Because that's the type of attitude that Paul is fighting with these words when he writes this to Corinth. It's a passage of correction. He explains, he says, if I give all my possessions to the poor, but I don't have love, I gain nothing. It doesn't matter if you give to the poor, have massive faith, or do miracles. If you're not doing it in love, then you're doing it wrong. Or as I said last week, if it doesn't matter if you give it to all your stuff to the poor or have massive faith, if you don't have love, then you're just annoying. Exactly. A few of y'all listen. Good job. And we all know people like that. We all know people who think they're spiritual and think they're godly and think they're the bee's knees, but they're also mean. And they're not patient and they're not kind. And they're just annoying. And that's what Paul is reminding us of. We can infer that from this passage that these grand gestures of generosity were very common to the church and toward the Corinthians. Someone would just feed the poor to tell other people that they fed the poor. Someone would make a large donation in public in front of everyone and say, look what I did, I'm donating a lot of money. Sounds like our pie auction. I'm just messing with you. Paul demands that they cut it out, okay? It's not from a place of love and kindness and selflessness, but they're doing it as a display to prove how loving they are when they're not loving at all. Students, listen, you should not do good to look good. That's not love. Tonight we're talking about God's original design of love, and that's why we did the original design activity in family group. Okay, you should not do good because you love God. You should do good because you love God. You don't serve to be seen. You don't give to show off. You don't do good things hoping that good comes back to you. Okay, that's the opposite of God's love. Kindness is not currency. Kindness in our lives as Christians should be from the overflow of love that we have received from God ourselves, and in turn, we have no choice but to be kind to others. That's what real love is. That's God's original design for love. But when we take God's original design for something and we rework it to better fit ourselves, that's when humans start to get in trouble. You can see this principle play out all throughout the Bible, over and over and over and over again. You know, in the beginning, God gave humans a paradise, right? You can read it. Adam and Eve, Genesis 1. He gave them a paradise to live in. They don't have to work for food. There's no death. There's no sin. There's no sickness. It's perfect. But humanity took what God designed and made it about themselves, and they ruined it all. Okay, God designed the family in a way that's beneficial for all involved, for support and security and social outlet, for education, resilience, and community. But when there was jealousy and Cain killed his brother Abel, because Cain was thinking about himself and what was good about himself, and he ruined it. He ruined God's original design. We learned last week in small groups, when Joshua, the leader, if you're here for our Sunday morning small groups, we went over the book of Judges. When Joshua dies at the end of the book of Joshua and the period of the judges happen, all the people of Israel, all of God's people are saying, hey, we want a king, God. We want to be like all the other nations that are around us. They had FOMO, okay? They were jealous of everyone. And God said, no, listen, I'm your king. Just do what I say and you will be blessed. But that wasn't good. That was God's original design for Israel, but it wasn't good enough. So they started rebelling against God, following other gods, following other nations, and it started this cycle of sin and suffering in their life because they took what God originally designed for them, and it caused 400 years of hardships because why? They couldn't stick to God's original design for their country. There are countless examples of this. When we make God's design about us instead of accepting God's design for us, we change God's design for us to fit us. We want it and then we end up making our lives actually harder and more complicated. We experience more hurt and more betrayal because you're no longer working within the perimeters of God's design. Okay, sex is like this. Okay, God made sex. Sex is not a bad word. Some of you guys were like, ooh, he said sex. Listen, sex in God's original design is awesome. Sex outside God's original design is a nightmare. Okay, every bad thing you ever hear about sex is because it happens outside of God's original design. But when humans stay within God's original design for anything in relationships, and tonight specifically about love, that's where you're blessed. But when we pervert God's original design for anything, that's when we start to get in trouble. Music is a great example of this, guys. Stay with me here. Listen. Music was created by God for one purpose. Okay? Music has one purpose, and it can only fulfill that one purpose. Students, music is the only thing on this planet that we experience that wasn't created on this planet. Okay, music is the only thing in the whole earth that wasn't even created in the earth. It's the only thing. Everything you see around you, the speaker, the ceilings, these lights, your phones, your clothes, yourself, your parents, you were all created here. Music, no. The only thing created, not on this earth. Music wasn't made here. Music was made on a different level. And so it also operates on a different level. Okay, music was created in heaven. Music was created by God for one purpose. Music has one function. God gives it one strategic design to fulfill, and that is this: worship. That's it. Music has one function, and still, that is worship. Today, you cannot use it for anything else. Music is about worship. Okay, it can't be separated from its original intent and design, but what humans do is we take music, and they don't change what it's designed for, they change who it's designed for. The only thing that changes is the content of the music, of what the author or the writer or the listener is wanting to worship. It can be proven, not just through God's word, it can be proven through science. Okay, listen, this is scientifical. I'm not even talking about the Bible anymore. Is scientifical a word? I have no idea. But tonight is scientifical, okay? In your brain, you have left brain. For y'all, it's right here. But for me, y'all are left brain tonight. You have left brain, you have right brain, right? It's scientifical. I'm going to use that word a lot, okay? Left brain is math, problem solving, science. That's left brain. 2 + 2 = 4. All left brain. Okay, right brain is creativity. Right brain's long-term memory. Right brain is dreams, aspirations, belief systems, passion. That's all right brain. Did you know that when you listen to music, it only takes 60 seconds for your left brain to completely shut off? And your right brain is steering the whole ship. It's only after 60 seconds. There's no analytical thought process in your brain. Your right brain is the only thing functioning. So whatever music is saying and you're listening to is dumping directly into your right brain, into your worship part of your brain. Okay, listen, stay with me. There's this hospital in Toronto, Canada, right? They do a very painful femur surgery. Femur surgery, that when they're doing the surgery, they're giving so much anesthesia to patients, it was either killing them or almost killing them. So much anesthesia. And they didn't know what to do. They're like, people need this surgery, what do we do? So what they did is they got scientifical, okay? They contacted us with scientists, and some scientists said this. They said, how about this? We're going to make patients listen to 15 minutes of peaceful music before the surgery. After they started doing that, they only started using half as much anesthesia on the patients. Just from 15 minutes of music. Students, you cannot listen to music and not be affected by it. You cannot listen to music and not be affected by the lyrics. You can't. Listen, throughout middle school and high school, I listened to all kinds of popular music. Okay, I had a big old sub in my car. Okay, I didn't put that big old sub in my car so I could bump Amazing Grace and Kumbaya. Okay, I listened to all types of music. And I believe that the lie that I could listen to this popular music that was ungodly, some of which that was probably straight up satanic if you really listen to the words. And I believe that I can enjoy this kind of music and still live a life that pleases God. But I was wrong. I would drive myself crazy. Wondering why. I've been trying to follow God. Why am I still struggling with these addictions in my life? I'm trying to follow God. I'm trying to do what is right, but why am I still having self-esteem problems? I can't be happy with who I am. I can't not have a romantic relationship. I'm always chasing after girls. I'm addicted to pornography. I'm on pills. All this stuff. I'm like, God, I'm trying to follow you. Why can I not? Why can't I have healthy relationships, God? Why can't I stop cussing? I'm trying, it's so hard, and I want to live a life that pleases you, but I just can't seem to do it. Why? And students, it's because I was spending all my time not worshiping God, but worshiping all that music I was listening to and the things that it was saying in all those songs. If you're wondering why you can't connect with God at church and connect with God through what the preacher's preaching, is because you've been listening to preaching all week. 80 hours of it in your AirPods. And you've been worshiping the things, the songs, and the artists are telling you to. And when you show up to church, good luck trying to connect with God. 2 Corinthians 6:14 says this, "For what do righteousness and wickedness have in common? What fellowship can light have with darkness? As children of God, we are called to be the light. We are called to be light. And you cannot be light when you're engulfing yourself in darkness throughout the week and throughout the day and song after song. You can't do it, students. When you're listening to music all about love, which is really just what popular culture is telling you what love is, you're never going to have a healthy relationship. Because you're going to think love is sex. You're going to think love is degrading others. That love is disrespecting authority. That love is having no commitment. And love is doing whatever you want. But we know what love is. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not boast. It is not proud. That is what love is. Listen, students, find me a song you listened to in the last week that was written by a non-Christian that talks about patience and kindness and selflessness and not getting angry and not holding grudges and not delighting in evil and not breaking the law and telling the truth, protecting others and trusting others. Find me one. We are humans. And even more so, you are teenagers. Okay, we all have emotions and hormones throughout our body, and at y'all's age, they're going crazy. And so when you pair that with music about sex and drug abuse and treating women bad, and then come to the house of God and wonder why you cannot find freedom, and you wonder why you cannot stop looking at pornography, and you're wondering why you cannot stop living how you're living, is because all week you're worshiping are you going to worship, students? And I'm not saying you can only listen to worship music. I'm saying all music is worship music. Who are you going to worship? Are you going to start paying attention to who you're worshiping and what you're worshiping? And then decide if you really want to change. And then decide if you really want to change your life. Because it's going to take sacrifice. It's going to take sacrifice. You're going to have to stop doing some stuff. You're going to have to stop listening to some stuff. I didn't get through half my sermon tonight, but I'll hit the highlights. Here it is. Love is God's design. And you can take things that are God's design and try to make them fit you all you want, but it'll never be the same. And the struggle you feel now will just get worse. And right now it's affecting your relationships with your friends, or your parents, but one day it'll be your spouse and your kids. Let me ask you this. If your problem you're having now gets 10 times bigger, where will that put you? Don't you want to change it? You can try to make them fit all you want, God's designs, into the way you want them to be. But it'll never be the same if you do. You'll never feel whole. You'll never feel complete. You'll never feel fulfilled as long as you keep trying to do things your way instead of submitting your life to God and do things His way. To love how He calls us to love. To worship how He calls us to worship. And to live how He wants you to live. Students, if you are sick and tired of trying to love and live in a godly way, but continuously finding yourself falling short, I challenge you tonight. What changes do you need to make? And I'm not talking about the same changes you come up here every week and say you're going to make. The reason why you're probably not making them is because you're not changing who you're worshiping. And you're not changing the influences in your life. Don't you want to set yourself up for success? The Bible tells us we're to walk in the Spirit of truth. We're to walk with God's Spirit every day. You can't just walk in this building with God's Spirit. You can't just walk with God's Spirit when you're over at your grandma's house. So you make sure you stay in the will. No. It's all or nothing. I'm not here to guilt you. It's your choice. But make it. For what do righteousness and wickedness have in common? Or what fellowship can light have with darkness? This is what I want us to do tonight, because this applies to every single person in here, even myself. I want you to stand up and get alone with God. Stay in this main area, but you can come down front. You can go to the sides. Please don't be sitting next to your friends poking and prodding. You can stay in your seats, but maybe spread out a little bit. I want everybody to get alone with God. It's just you and Him. Students, if you don't know how to get alone with God now, one day you will be alone with Him when you go to heaven. And you will stand alone before God. And you will answer for every decision you have made. Wouldn't it be great if there were a lot less bad ones we had to answer for that day? And it starts tonight. This is what I want you to do. I just want you to reflect on yourself and ask yourself this question. What darkness am I letting in? What darkness am I letting in? For me, when I was your age, it was the music I listened to. That was what it was for me. As I got older, it was the shows I would watch. Even today, content I consume. I have to constantly remind myself, light and darkness, they have no fellowship with each other. So the band's going to play, and I want you to ask yourself, what darkness am I letting in? And then ask yourself, how am I going to stop it from coming in? And when you have answered those questions, I want you to simply stand up on your feet and begin to worship.